So January 6th, it was a Sunday. I remember going to a friend's house and I was like, we're going to do vision boards, because this is a fresh start and these things work. And, and I sat there and it was hours. And I remember crying with my vision board and I was just a wreck with my girlfriends and I was a wreck, but I made a vision board that to me was like an armor. I was like, this is good.
Hey girl.
What's up, my girl? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm so good. I'm so excited to have you. Thank you so much for your yes, girl.
I'm excited to be here. You dressed up and this is like prime time at my house. I put blush on. I'm like, I know she's coming on.
Yes, I get super excited for these testimonies of faith every Tuesday. And I'm just so excited to have you. Thank you, girl.
For having me. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be on this journey with you.
Yes.
Our group is so it's so beautiful. So I'm happy to be a part of it, honestly.
Yes, yeah. Man, I should have texted. I forgot. I didn't remember to text. Oh well, it's all good. It's all good.
Share it afterwards.
Yeah, right. Okay, so let's just jump into it, you guys. Welcome everyone that's joining now. My name is Janelle Renee. For you guys who do not know, I'm a certified faith-based mindset coach, and I have the pleasure of interviewing beautiful women of faith every Tuesday. And this evening, I have the honor and the privilege of interviewing my good friend, Miss Illiet. And so I'm going to go ahead and jump into her beautiful, beautiful bio. And so let's jump into it. So Mrs. Illiet, she is a wife, she's a mother, she's a soul-led business owner and community builder. And I love that. I love your mission. I love everything that you're about. She's doing life and business with the concept of chasing balance as her North Star, which I think is just super powerful. She's a faith-based woman, growing and doing her best to live in her God-sent purpose. Let's welcome Mrs. Illiet.
Thank you, Mike. And so for that intro.
Yeah, girl. I don't know if I did it any justice, but yeah, I love your mission. I love everything that you're about. When I heard your testimony, I was like, oh my gosh, I ran up to you, remember? I was like, you gotta share your testimony on my platform. Like, I'm just super pumped to have you here. And so I thank you so much. And so I'm gonna just ask you, just as I ask everyone who comes on, to just share one time where you had to step out on faith.
So it's interesting to know, before we even get started, the first time I had ever shared my testimony was with you guys. It's honestly something that, not because I'm ashamed, but I've been on a healing journey. I hate to sound dramatic, but I've been on a healing journey because that season of my life was so difficult. And it still shows up today, so I kind of I want to say I kind of sheltered it for a while, for a long time. So I had such a, when they asked me to do the vision board for the group, I was like, this is the perfect opportunity for me to, this is the right group that I feel won't judge me. They'll hear it as the true testimony that it truly is. And obviously you heard it, and
yeah, it's so powerful. I'm like, I resonated with it so much. I was just like, man, this is literally me. Oh man.
So I have a million testimonies, to be very, very honest. In particular, I think is important that I share with the world today, the world's Instagram.
So this is a big step for you then, huh?
It is.
Wow.
Ask me. It's not, obviously, it's Instagram is an open form. And, my faith is growing through the years. I'm not a perfect Christian by no means, but I'm always evolving. And I always kind of try to go back and let it be what leads me. That's why I said like my purpose. It took me a long time to find my purpose, and it found me at the right time, you know. So yeah, that's a testimony on its own, to be quite frank. But anyways, I've had to step into faith on many occasions. Something that before coming on to this live, I want to kind of go in theme of what we were practicing at church, and it was what would the mature me do?
Yes.
So go off that because I'm trying to think about that every day when I'm angry at something, or I'm like, Illiet, what will the mature me do? So I wanted to start off my testimony with that. It says the mature me here will allow God's voice to drown out any negative self-talk that comes into my brain, my soul, my mind. So I kind of want to start off with that. It was something that I read yesterday, my devotional, and I need to continue to work on that, because the testimony you're going to hear keeps showing up today. You know, when I'm not motivated, when I'm tried, when my business is not going the direction that I thought it was, that self-talk, that negative self-talk jumps in. And that's where I need to lean in even more and say, wait, I'm hearing too much of this. I need to, you know, sit and meditate on God's word and know that everything's fine. It's exactly where it needs to be.
Yes.
So yeah, I wanted to start there, and I wanted to read something as well. And it says, the Lord your God is in your midst, a mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you by his love. He will exude over you with loud singing. And again, to me, that's super strong, because sometimes our mindset is so, and I'm a mindset coach, and I teach this, you know this very well, dominate us sometimes.
Yes.
Where, our habit and our practice needs to lean into our faith to say like, no, I'm louder than you. Not you're louder than me.
That part.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, which leads me to a time, a season, I can't say it was long ago, but let's say 4 years ago or so, I was in what I thought was what I had asked for. I was in an amazing corporate job, fancy. I would dress up really cute, and I would show up, and I loved my job. I loved it. I truly, truly loved it. And again, I thought I was in the perfect place, and I was doing what I was meant to do. And I think I was blinded for a long time because of the fanciness and because of what I measured as success at that time. Mm-hmm. And I was doing it. Well, it happens to be that the culture that I was in that particular setting was one that was very toxic for me. Okay, so I want to just make sure that I say that very clearly. It was very toxic for me. It was months on end where the relationship with myself and the atmosphere that I was in was just, I was very sick. I was sleeping. My negative self-talk was just dominating me. And honestly, I would pray every single day before walking in, and I'm like, I got this. And my prayers were, I got this. And I would sit in the bathroom in that stall, and I'd be like, I got this. Nothing is bigger than me. And the right things are going to happen. And I'm God, you're listening. And nothing would go right. And I would just be like, dude, like, are you not listening to me? Like, what, are you kidding me? Right. Every day I couldn't do anything right. And when I tell you, my mental health was just, it was awful. But I had to show up. I had to show up for my family. I had to show up for work. I would show up with a smile on my face, fancy outfits. I would show up, but I was destroyed inside. Destroyed. And to add to that, I would deviate a lot with my own plan. I would deviate with like, let me look for more work. Let me talk to somebody. Let me do all the things that I thought were tools to get me out, or to help me, or to fix things. And I relied on all of that. And along the way, I probably did a bunch of different wrong things that, again, I wasn't focused on the right thing. Yeah. Right. And one day, it was January 6th. We're coming back from Christmas vacation, which was a different one that year for me. I remember that Sunday, I was headed back to work that Monday. and still very sick. I mean, I was buying every type of vitamin that you could imagine for focus, because I was told that I was forgetful. I was this. It was just it was a harsh internal battle. So January 6th, it was a Sunday. I remember going to a friend's house and I was like, we're going to do vision boards, you know, because this is a fresh start and these things work. And, you know, and I sat there and it was hours. And I remember crying with my vision board, and I was just a wreck with my girlfriends, and I was a wreck. But I made a vision board that to me was like an armor. You know, I was like, this is good. This is gonna, and it's funny because there was pictures on it. It was one of the most proudest vision boards I've ever done, because it was aesthetically pleasing. Everything meant something. And even in my lack of clarity, I put something there to represent my lack of clarity. And it was a picture of a door slightly open. I shared this. It was a door, and it really, to me, when I saw that door, it was about opportunity. I don't know what it was, because I didn't know. My prayer since I've been, I think, a kid has always been like, what's my next move? Help me with my purpose so I can be happy. And anyways, I sat in that chair. I did my board January 6th. On January 7th, I drove to work. I had a really pretty outfit on. I had my vision board in my hands. I remember going to the stall like I always did. And I sat, and you know, this is very, you picture me in a bathroom stall, you know, and I'm there. And I'm like, today's going to be a better day. I'm not going to let anything bother me. I'm strong. Like, you got me, right? And I don't know why that day I really did feel, I felt a lot of hope. I truly, truly felt a lot of hope. And I walked in with my vision board, like as if I was carrying like a suitcase with $1 million. I walked in. I put my vision board up on my cubicle, and I was like, I felt so good. I felt so good. I was like, this is it. Like,
yes.
In my head, I'm on optimistic by nature, and I really felt like this is a brand new day. Everything's like, the things around me are going to be different. Everything's going to be different. Greatest story of all time. That day, in the afternoon, I was asked to leave with all my stuff, with my vision board in my hands. They removed my computer, they removed my phone, and I'm smiling. We said this when you heard it the first time. I'm smiling because obviously my story is a testimony, right? That day, my self-esteem was pulled out of my soul. Because things like that don't happen to me. If anybody that's on here knows me, knows that I don't give like 100, I give 200. So my self-esteem was pulled out of my chest. My confidence was pulled out of my chest. My beliefs were pulled out of my chest. I mean, everything. I remember sitting there in full tears, and I think my explanation was like, I have children, I have a family, and there was no explanation to make me feel better that day. And I walked out like I felt awful. I cried and did all the things, and I felt like a criminal, like I'd done something terribly wrong. And it was nothing. It was small. It was tiny. That whole scenario was tiny. I just saw it much bigger than what it was. But again, it was personally attacking me and what I stand for, my rapport, my everything. So I'm smiling now, because if that would have never happened, and God answered me right away.
Yes. Literally the next day.
He answered me. He let me go through all of that to see, what type of resilience I would build and what direction I would go in, because it wasn't my plan. It was not my plan. It was not my plan. That door on my vision board was opportunity. And the opportunity didn't look the way that's definitely not what I asked for. Zero.
Right.
Because like my paycheck was removed, my large paycheck, like my livelihood. And I'm like, what do I do? What do I
Right.
do?
Right.
So he answered very quickly, and I turned around in a matter of weeks, and I used my vision board to open up workshops for everybody, which I still do currently now.
Yes.
And I don't host random workshops on just let's craft, but it's powerful workshops. I mean, I speak from my soul because I know that they work. Especially if you're faith based, I'm like, this thing
Yes,
works.
definitely.
And to be honest, he gave me my purpose that day. I didn't think it for like a month.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, are you kidding me? Like really? And again, I neglected for a while. I was like, you let me down. You're not listening. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, all the questions,
Yes.
all the things. And I kind of just stayed eyes forward, very positive. I would continue to pray, sometimes with disbelief, to be very honest. But when I was able to, one, return to work a month later, because he does things in mysterious ways after, being presented with with every closed door. I went back to that same place for just a small little stepping stone, because that was preparation of like, prepare your bank account, because I'm about to take you on the most beautiful ride, which is now I'm a business owner for more than 4.5 years.
Wow.
I've sustained economically. I've grown every single year, and I would have never, ever, 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 ever done that if I wouldn't have been pushed out that door.
Yes. My God. He had to get you uncomfortable. And it shows like oftentimes we're hanging on to these careers because we're thinking it's a sense of security, right? I think what really struck me too was I got cold bumps all over again listening to you share it again. But like when you said I have kids, like I have children. And it's like we have to make sure that we're having like other additional streams of income, you know what I mean, coming in, and something that obviously aligns with our purpose as well. And so I think your testimony is so powerful and on so many levels, so many levels. Yeah, God had to push you out that door so that you can see like he has more for you, like so much more for you. And especially because like internally he knew that you were struggling internally. Outwardly it looks good, but internally is what he cares about, right? And so he cares about our hearts, he cares about our well-being. And so man, this is just so powerful. Oftentimes when we think God is not listening, he's not answering, he's literally he's directing your steps, he's directing your path 100%, right? And I also have to attest to your vision board because that was like the first time I've ever encountered that. I've never created a vision board ever. And I should have probably brought mine. It's in my prayer corner. I have it right in my prayer corner. So as I'm like praying, like I'm literally looking at it and it's so powerful. Like just having the visual, like I've never created one where I've had one on my phone, which is good. But to have the physical one after experiencing that with you was just so powerful. And so I could thank you on behalf of me. Like I could just definitely vouch for like just how powerful your workshops are. And so
thank you. And that was a little mini version because we didn't have a lot of time.
Right.
They're I mean, psychologically, they're very powerful from the spiritual end, especially if you know where your focal point is,
Right.
and you really know where your North
Right.
Star is.
Right.
God tells you have to have a plan. If we perish if we don't have vision.
Exactly. Yep.
Always to have vision, but let him do his thing. Divine timing, all of that. I'm such an incredible believer. I mean, I put my plan up, and what I love to say is like, surprise me with crazy dreams that I can't even dream up. Because
Right.
I couldn't dream that up. I was like, well, I'm gonna change jobs within that same sector, and I would have been dumbfounded in thinking this plan for me.
Right.
I wouldn't have thought of this, and those are the type of credits that I'm like, everybody needs to hear this. Like, you need to dream ginormous because it surprise you in ways you would have never even imagined.
exactly it. That's literally in his scripture, Ephesians 3:20. You know, he'll do it exceedingly and abundantly beyond what we could even imagine. And so that is so powerful. And so, Illiet, just for everyone that's watching and everyone that'll watch the replay, thank you guys for hanging out with us. What is one word of advice you would give to someone right now who knows that God is calling them for more? They're probably feeling the same way we felt, feeling, because I have literally the same testimony where I was feeling very confined in my career or unhappy in my career, unfulfilled. And, but, you know, they're afraid to step out. They're afraid to step out on faith. Like, what is like one word of advice that you would give to that person right now?
I would probably say, well, two things. This is maybe not answering your question, but I challenge you and encourage you that when you're not feeling motivated or when things seem to be awfully wrong, to kind of steer. Our plan is not the best plan, right? Our plan is not the best plan.
No.
I'm sorry, my dog is,
It's
you know.
okay.
So yeah, our plan is definitely not the best plan. I would probably say, what is the best? I had a bunch of them, and now I'm just like, which one do I want to say? I would probably say, you know, if you change your mindset to look for miracles, I think that's my advice. That's going to be my advice. My advice is there's a part of me that says our faith-based mindset sees things differently than the common world. And I think I heard something similar at church on Sunday, and it's when you have a faith-based vision, you see things more optimistic. Right. And I said today with my group, I said, instead of seeing rain, see the rainbow. You know, in a time of lack, see opportunity. So I would say just challenge the way you think. Allow for faith or prayer or something bigger to be your guiding light. Yeah. We don't have answers, and it's 100% okay not to have answers. Right. But the minute that you kind of sit still and just make that faith your North Star, everything else just seems obsolete. And it takes practice. You know, so I would probably start little, start with a very easy devotional, kind of meditate on it, ask questions. And I can probably, this is a question that I worked on today. And my prayer was, dear Lord, quiet my mind with your love. And the question is, in what ways are you tempted to define your worth by your performance? And that's a question that I asked myself today was part of my devotional. And I would leave you guys with that, you know, in what ways are you tempted to define your worth by your performance? And it has a little bit to do with, you know, how do you redirect to your faith? Right.
Yeah. That's so good. Man, you have me thinking. That's so good. I have to journal that one tonight.
It's a good one. And I wrote this down here. It says, God doesn't care about like the insignificant things, you know. And I put here like validation from people, Instagram, like we don't care about that. He cares about his personal relationship with us. He's not absolutely. If I'm trying to, I don't know, you know, grow my following, like that's insignificant. That's why I have to go back to like, what's my value? You know, what does he want from me, you know, from this? And to me, I always go back to, I just want to make an impact on one person. Yeah. That's it. Right. Yeah. And you're doing that. You're doing that with Chasinbalance. You're definitely doing that. And I'm just super proud of you and everything that you're doing, and wife, mom, all the hats that you wear. Thank you. I'm proud of you too, because I know you've gone out too. So I'm proud of you. Thank you. You know, and you don't need my validation or anyone's, because you know we have ours, and we're like, yes, definitely. Man. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much. Oh, Ted had a question. He said, is there a verse that helped you during that time? Was there a verse that you anchored onto that helped you during that time? Or I'm gonna be very honest. I would say that I was a novice Christian. Was that safe to say? Yeah. I was very novice, so it was just a conversation. It was honestly a constant conversation. I didn't know if I was doing it right or wrong. He was listening, obviously, clearly. Yeah. But there wasn't. there wasn't a verse. It was just literal conversation.
Right.
It was conversation. And I know sometimes we're not supposed to just ask for help, but mine was just a call for help, and for even just for help. I'm going to leave it at that. It was a call for help. I know
Right.
not a lot of help, but
No, I agree. I feel like 4 years ago, I was definitely not. That's when I just got saved. I was a brand new believer that time. So I feel like he had us transitioning simultaneously pretty much. Man, he'll do it. He'll turn it all around for you.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
You're so welcome, Ted. You're so welcome.
Yes.
All right, you guys. So thank you so much again, Illiet. It was such a pleasure hearing your testimony again, and just for you, sharing that testimony. I know it's going to bless so many people on so many levels. It's such a word of inspiration. The Bible tells us that we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimonies. And so testimonies are powerful because if he did it for you, he'll do it for someone else. And so yeah.
Absolutely. Bad circumstances are temporary, and a big thing is how we show up when things are not going well. Like, continue forward, keep that light, keep the meditation, keep the prayer, and he'll show up. He'll show up. You gotta believe. You guys so believe.
Yes, believe. It all starts with belief, 100%. Right?
100%. He provides. He gives you exactly what you need when you need it, and I wholeheartedly, I truly believe that.
Yes. All right. You guys, I'm going to tell you guys, just as God told me, put one foot in front of the other, step out on faith, and trust God for the next step. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.